Good morning and welcome back to Open Med School. In the last session, we have discussed about the parts of nephron. Today, I will be discussing how the glomerulus is formed and what is the blood supply and the drainage of veins from the kidney. So, here is in this picture, you can see the parts of the nephron. This is the renal corpuscle, and the initial part is the proximal convoluted tubule with a convoluted part and a straight part, and then the loop of Henle, the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct. So let us see how the glomerulus is formed. The glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries, and it is formed by an afferent arteriole. So here you can see an artery that is entering the Bowman's capsule, that is the afferent arteriole, that divides and form a tuft of capillaries, that is the glomerulus, and it is draining into an efferent arteriole. So efferent arteriole which is going out and afferent is that is entering. The Bowman's capsule has got two layers. One is the visceral epithelium. So this part is the visceral cells. These are the visceral. They are modified into what is called the podocytes. So the visceral cells are modified into podocytes. The podocyte has got food processes, and so this is the modified visceral cell which has got a food processes, that is sitting on the outer aspect of the capillary network. And now let us see how this glomerulus is formed. So this is the electron micrograph of the glomerulus of a mouse. You can see here the afferent artery entering and is forming the glomerulus, and the efferent artery is going, and the efferent arteriole, it again divides and forms network either around the tubule. Once it is around the tubule, it is called a peritubular network, and if it is going down straight into the medulla, and especially in case of the juxtaglomerular nephrons, they are called the vasa recta. And in this picture you can see a little more larger view of the glomerulus. Here you can see the modified visceral epithelial cells are forming food processes, and they are sitting on or covering the capillary network of the glomerulus. So this is the picture of the podocyte. You can see the podocytes with the multiple food processes. So these are the podocytes. They are on the outer side of the glomerulus. So if you take a magnified view of this part that is shown here, you can see this is the capillary glomerulus or the blood vessel, and these are the endothelial cells. This is the basement membrane, and these are the podocytes. So you can see the food processes of the visceral epithelial cells and protecting the glomerulus. Now going back to the blood supply of the kidney, 25% of the cardiac output is reaching the kidney, and it is through the renal artery. Renal artery is a branch of the abdominal aorta. The abdominal aorta, so it divides into the segmental branches. So the renal artery divides into segmental branches. The segmental branches divides into interlobar artery. So here you can see it is passing between the lobes of the kidney. So they are called the interlobar arteries. Interlobar arteries are entering via the renal columns. So these are the renal columns. So renal columns are actually the cortical tissue. So this is the cortex. Cortical tissue extending into the medulla is the renal columns. this interlobar artery gives off what is called the arcuate artery. So this is the arcuate artery. The arcuate artery divides and gives multiple radial arteries. They are called the cortical radial arteries. Cortical radial artery. The cortical radial artery gives branches and they are the afferent arteriole. And this afferent arteriole forms the glomerulus and then the efferent arteriole. From there the peritubular capillary network or the vasa recta is formed. So this is a modified view, enlarged view. So here you can see this is the renal artery. This is the renal artery which is dividing into the segmental arteries. From there the interlobar artery, from there the arcuate artery, from the arcuate artery the cortical radial branches, from the radial branches the glomerulus, and from there the efferent arteriole. From the efferent arteriole, so you can see this is the afferent arteriole formed, then the glomerulus, from the glomerulus the efferent arteriole. From the efferent arteriole the peritubular capillaries are formed, that is around the tubules. From this network the veins are formed. From the peritubular capillaries interlobular veins are formed. Just like the interlobular arteries, it forms the interlobular arteries. The interlobular, not arteries, interlobular veins. Interlobular veins drains into the arcuate veins. So this is the arcuate vein. So interlobular, so this is interlobular vein. The interlobular veins are draining into the arcuate vein. Arcuate vein drains into the interlobar veins. Interlobar veins forms the renal vein. Only difference between this, basically the arterial and venous, they are almost going side by side. The only difference is that there is no segmental veins. There are segmental arteries are there, but there is no segmental veins. And I already said there is the efferent arteriole gives some few branches called the vasa recta. So let us see what is vasa recta. The peritubular capillaries and vasa recta are arising from the efferent arteriole. So here you can say this is the efferent arteriole, this is the afferent arteriole, and this is the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole again branches. So this is a particular situation where an arteriole forms capillaries and again it produces an arteriole. Afferent arteriole forms the efferent arteriole. It again branches and it is around the tubules. Once it is in the tubule, this network is called a peritubular network. So here you can see what is in is the peritubular network of capillaries. And in the case of this juxta medullary nephrons, you can see the nephron, the loop of Henle is going deep into the medulla, and you can see the efferent arteriole also follows it. There is a straight arteriole and a straight vein is there. These are called vasa recta capillaries. So the vasa recta. So vasa recta means it is a straight vessel. From this again capillary network is formed, and from there the venous drainage can be either into the interlobular veins. So from the vasa recta, the network, capillary network, they can go to the interlobular vein and then to the arcuate vein, or it may drain directly into the arcuate vein. So two ways it can go. So this is how the venous system is formed in the kidneys. So repeating once more, there is a interlobular vein, the arcuate vein. So this is the arcuate vein. There is a interlobular vein, then forms the renal vein, which drains into the inferior vena cava. So this is the summary of the blood supply which we have already mentioned. So in short, there is the renal artery, is a branch of the abdominal aorta, which gives of segmental branches which enters the kidney through the hilum. The arteries entering through the hilum. The part of the pelvis with the vessels is called the renal sinus. It divides into segmental vessels. It is passing between the medullary pyramids, arcuate artery and the cortical radial, then forms the interlobular. From the interlobular, the afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole, the network, and from there the venous drainage. The interlobular veins are formed. Then reaches the arcuate vein, pass via the interlobar veins, and finally reach the renal vein. So this is the, hope this point is clear to you. We will come with how the glomerular filtration is occurring in the next session. Hope this was useful to you.